Alright, response video to the Modern Mystic. Yeah, well, whatever. What? It's just disappointing. You can't have a conversation with that. Everybody's a jerk. And, yeah, he's pretty much a jerk, too. So anyway, play along. There's lots of stuff to explain, I think.
Video. I watched Gary's Fair Economics channel video to me, and I got a comment from Watcher Johnny, and I'm going to try and mash the two of these together.
No, let's just understand he'd really hate it if I did that to his videos, like I mashed him with Carla or something. He'd probably hate that, but whatever.
Basically, the question I'll be asking both of them and anybody else that wants to have a go at answering it for what they think is why, what for.
Yeah. Alright, I mean, it's just kind of idiotic. I mean, so you could ask, so I mean, the substance of his video, if you just if you want to get a preview of how this video is going to go, he's just basically going to make a bunch of accusations about my personal character and imply that my motives are not somehow as honest as they should be or something. Or they're just petty, or they're just reactionary, or something stupid like that. And so I could argue that, no, it's the same reason why why do you find methods of gardening that work better, and you weed a certain way, or you do something a certain way. It's not for some sort of subjective petty reasons, because you've sitting there and analyzed it and said, this is the only possible way, this has got to be the best way to do it, but this will keep the wood from rotting, this will do. It's just a thought process you go through to say, what's the problem and what's the solution. I mean, I said that in the video. You just, you just walk past the video content, as is your style, and get to what you want to turn the video into. It's just such a gross manipulation. I mean, the answer to your question was in my video. The why is there's a problem. Let's accurately describe it, and then there's a solution. My diagnosis of the problem is that we never engineered the game. It's a very poorly functioning game. The rules aren't in place. The borders lines aren't written down. There's no sense to it. And then we have this idiotic jack-in-the-box that just pops up in the middle of the game and says, they win. They inherited it. I mean, it's just idiotic. And on its face, unengineered, it has no hope of constructively doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is to create something like efficiency and fairness. It's not going to do either one of those things. But to sit there and say why? Oh yeah, why is because we live in a world that is fundamentally and catastrophically, in my opinion, catastrophically broken. We are wasting human suffering on insensible scales to elevate and maintain a monarchy, essentially. Nothing less than a monarchy. At a huge cost in human deprivation and harm. Why? Fuck you. For who? Fuck you.
So, we'll start with Watcher Johnny. Libertarian.
Yeah, which means capitalist, by the way. I don't understand. He seems to think libertarians are something like they're opposed to being capitalists. Like they're not capitalism, they're something other than capitalism. No, they're capitalism, 100% capitalism. They are for monarchies, for the monarch, for the acquisition of preposterous wealth and the ownership of everybody. They're for driving prices out of the reach of everybody, for monopolies, I mean, they're insane. Capitalists. Capitalists.
Last time we communicated, it was a year or so ago, or maybe more, I asked him to stop communicating with me because I've got no time for libertarians, because I don't think they're of this planet. And obviously that goes for Gary as well.
Yeah, well, again, so my response is what? Oh, fuck you. Yeah. Okay. What am I supposed to counter-argue with what? I think you're fundamentally a jerk too? Okay, fine. There. Consider it done.
As in, libertarians, what could they possibly want? Or should I say, Johnny, what do you possibly want out of libertarianism? And I can only imagine that you think you're a little bit of a cut above the rest, and if let loose, you could really dominate the rest and be a bit of a kingpin. And
yeah, well, that pretty much sums it up for the libertarians, right? So you're going to throw me into that category as if that's my motivations in finding problems in the system is because of some personal issue. You don't, I mean, really, you know, well, I mean, I don't, you know, who wants to do this? Who wants to play this game? But I mean, you know, look, it wasn't capitalism that stopped me from being somebody. I was on the road to being somebody. All right? I mean, at 17, I had $30,000 of money I earned in the fucking bank. All right? So it's not about me having a problem being a fucking greedy capitalist. I could have done that. I didn't want to do that, number one. And number two, circumstances dictated that that just wasn't going to be my route in life. But I mean, so what's your argument? That somehow I failed at the system and therefore I resent the system? Because that'd be a stupid argument. So when I was 16 years old, and I rejected a raise that I was asking for because the owner wouldn't give it to the other employees doing the same job I had, that was for myself. It wasn't because I fundamentally knew it was cheating not to have it done right and fair, and I didn't like cheaters. So your argument is I just have some resentment against owners, and it's not that I have resentment against cheaters, because you don't really want to listen to the argument, do you? And you suck. Yeah. Well, yeah, you spend your whole life, well, since he's going to get personal, I'll get personal. You spend your whole life cheating. I mean, you know, when you tell your life story, you pretend like, oh, I didn't know there was taxes in the world, and I didn't know people paid taxes to their country to keep it strong and alive, and, you know, the place where they were, the country where they were working, there was infrastructure and everything. I didn't know people paid for all that stuff with taxes. You sure you didn't know? Of course you did know, and you just cheated, because it was easy.
this is what I get from libertarians, the idea I get from libertarians, mainly because libertarians, they're mainly children, aren't they, anyway?
Yeah, I mean, this is just such a useless way to argue, right? So you're just, I don't know, I mean, why do this? I mean, you spent all this time trying to build up this point that there's a certain way to argue, and now you just become a fucking yob in your arguments. You're just going to make personal attacks as if that's an argument. Oh, they're children. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, that's not a counter-argument. So it really isn't a counter-argument. It's really kind of useless. I mean, it's no better than Matt just calling you a stuck-up old tart. Yeah. It's really quite useless as an argument.
Really, aren't they? You know, teenagers and a bit adult who think they're just a little bit...
A bit, yeah, a bit. What they're called is the rich. I mean, the rich are pro-libertarian, and they're pro-making the argument for that, okay? And there's plenty of these old artifacts. Just turn on Fox News, right? I think it's just full of those old artifacts.
Clever.
You know, whining and the Reaganites, complaining about the overregulation.
And I'll just say it to Johnny up, but it applies to Gary as well. There are 310 million people plus now, and rising, in the United States of America.
Yeah, and it's only rising because we're importing poverty. Yeah, that's right. The third world is moving to America.
When you put forward these ideas, are you really putting them forward for 310 million people?
Yeah, so again, so I analyze a system, I say, look, it's basically a game, and the game is built on this thing called labor. Labor's the value of everything, really. I mean, they're really everything, even gold. The value of it is in the labor. The labor of the machines needed to mine it, the laborers who are mining it, the laborers breaking it up, the laborers smelting it, or whatever they do to gold. That's the value of the gold. Everything you touch, everything you consume, the value of it is other people's work. So we consume work and we produce work. And the game is to play an honest game where you put into the game what you take out of the game. And that's your minimum hope. You would hope to do that and have at least a decent reason not to do that. And then there are people here who are obscenely in negative territory. They are consuming in the amounts of work they are forcing people to do, stupid, useless, putrid work for their luxury, that if we could take those workers and migrate them to some other activity, everybody could have twice as much leisure time. They could work half as less or be paid twice as much if we didn't waste all the resources manicuring queens and kings, the spawn of the wealthy. Oh, and you think that's just some fucking whatever emotional argument. Fuck you.
Or are you really putting them forward for basically yourself? So Gary and his ideas...
I don't figure on being here for more than a couple more years, so I don't know how myself has too much to do with it, but you could argue that yes, it's myself in the sense that these are ideas and things that I have for a long time thought rational and sensible, and personally I'd like to see them actualized. So I have a self-interest in the sense I suppose I've bet on the horse which is called Gary's idea, because Gary says it's one hell of a horse. So yeah, I'm betting on it because it's a hell of a horse. And if it ever gets a fair fucking track to run on, it's going to win.
The fairness.
Oh, yeah, well, you just don't... It's conceptually beyond you. Yeah, whatever.
I mean, to... Getting rid of owners, which seems to be the thing, which I think comes from the guy that you worked for at that diner, the owner of the diner, and you didn't like him.
Ah, whatever. It wasn't a diner, okay? It's a $10 million... It sold for $10 million. It's one hell of a diner. But anyway, yeah, and there was many owners of many diners, and many circumstances where I saw the game played. And one of the most poignant ones was actually the Chinese labor the guy had imported. And, you know, they're all males, and they all worked obscene hours for shit money. No life whatsoever. 1 day off, and that's it. You know, living in a fucking pigsty in the attic. And the one guy was taking barbiturates every day just to get through the day. His back was so ruined by the work. Just ruined. I mean, he was aging decades in years right before my eyes. He was just dying in front of my eyes. I'm watching a person die in front of my eyes doing stupid labor for a stupid cunt bastard. And the cunt bastard doesn't give a fuck. And he's just gaming these people because these people are sacrificing themselves for their families back home to try to buy them a life. And, but that's about me, isn't it? God, you're just such a creepy piece of suck. Fuck you.
And now you've built an entire lifetime economics policy on it. It's not really about 310 million people, just of the United States.
Yeah, no, it's just about a rational argument that I know what fairness is. I know what a good race is. I know what a good game is. And a good game isn't corked bats and 4-inch spikes on your fucking cleats and, you know, throwing salt in the other guy's eyes. The good game isn't cheating and fucking giving people shit for no fucking goddamn... When deserve has nothing to do with it, and you give people shit when they haven't done... sweat one to earn it, alright? That's bullshit. When you let some asshole become a general in the army, okay, because his name starts with a G, Yeah, that's right, you insult every fucking body in the army. I feel insulted to play a game where some asshole can fall out of a vagina and then say he can own me. That he can extort me like some Chinaman. That he can break my fucking back. Okay, because he inherited the right to? Fuck him. I'm not a slave to your pals and your buddies lounging on their fucking yachts, okay? You want to talk to those suckers? You want to lick their ass? That's your fucking business. I resent it. I find it fucking insulting, and I will not accept the insult. That's right. So that part's for me.
Billion people in the world, and rising. It's about you, isn't it? This as well. Get rid of the owners. Life will be so much...
Just define them as what they are. Useless sacks of shit. Just like the welfare whores. Just like anybody else who thinks they're entitled to take. Okay? Not in any kind of humble way where they'll concede, I fucked up, I'm wrong, I'm broken. No. These are assholes who inherit it and then point their finger at somebody else and say, pull up your bootstraps. Alright? Fuck them. And fuck you for defending the cheaters.
Better. You don't really think that life would be so much better for...
Oh, fuck you! Yeah, it would be, that's right. I believe the rich consume 3/4 of the resources consumed. That's what I believe. I believe the average working man would see a 300% improvement in his life if tomorrow the top 1% all died of cancer. That's what I believe. Sincerely and entirely. Okay, that the fucking rich are a huge 500-pound, 800-pound fucking hippopotamus in the lifeboat. They're a huge liability. All they do is eat and shit. They'll never do anything productive. They're just gonna sink the fucking boat. The spawn of the wealthy are useless sacks of fucking shit.
Everybody, do you? Really?
No, I do. Really. I really believe that people, that you really have to rationally understand that there's no fucking economy if people can show up and just, with their play money, and fuck the game. If you made a real game that you were going to play with somebody else, and the money for, like, say, the Monopoly game, you had to go out into the street and earn it. You know, helping old ladies across the street, raking leaves, shoveling snow. You had to earn the money you came to the game with. And then the other guy just went to Daddy and said, give me some money, Daddy. And he gave them so much money that, yeah, they could just buy everything they landed on. They didn't have to make strategic decisions. They didn't have to choose, well, I got to go for the greens because I can't afford to buy both. No, they could just buy anything they landed on. And you're going to have a game. It's not going to be a game. It's going to be a slaughter. And that's what life on planet Earth is for most people. It's a slaughterhouse.
I really don't think so. So what for, Gary?
Well, you don't have to think so. You really don't. But if you're going to talk shit about somebody else, then expect to get some back. This is called blowback, fuckhead. You senile old coot.
What is this idea of getting rid of the owners for? Who is it for?
The sake of rationality and dignity. Again, what metaphor? You don't accept the game metaphor? Is that it? So if I use horse racing, or I use a three-legged race in the town square, or I use a baseball game, or I use any other example, you're not going to allow me to use any of those metaphorical examples to say, look, that's what cheating looks like. Okay, and we wouldn't have professional baseball, would we? Anybody watch professional baseball if it was only the sons and daughters of past professional baseball players that could play baseball? If they got an automatic in? Would anybody watch a horse race if half the horses start halfway down the track? And then some horses started fucking 4 feet from the finish line? Would anybody waste their time betting? I don't think so.
I think it's just an ongoing vendetta that you've got against the rich
Well, I think you have the opposite problem, which is you got to the taste of their shit on your tongue became so marvelous that you just fell in love with it. And you just reminisce about the good old days where a rich man patted you on the head and said, "Good little Nicky, thank you for polishing my brass properly."
Developed back then, and it's still niggling you and getting at you. So you come out with these things. But just like the libertarians, you don't take into
Yeah, whatever. I mean, you're just like nihilists, so yeah, you are a nihilist, so I can't really insult you with just like the nihilist. But, let's see, what else could I insult you with? The Yobbitarians. Yeah, just like the Yobbitarians, you're off point and irrelevant. Because you have no argument, so you're just a petty weasel. Petty little woman kind of man. Yeah, you're a girly man who can't make a real argument, so you have to make some kind of personal argument.
Count where we are now and the complexity of it all. The complexity of it is...
Oh, right, and it was complex back in when there was a French Revolution. You live in France, right? I mean, sort of. You know, and they decided that they had enough, and yeah, they didn't do it right, but they got part of it right, which was, yeah, cut the king's head off. They got that part right.
Monstrously huge, and saying that the government should just put the owners out of business and run the companies in the way.
Yeah, whatever, in the way. Now this is the tricky part, right, where you actually have to be honest to the argument. So let's see what he does here.
That you say, whatever it is.
There we go. Gee, that's so fair, coppish of you. Whatever it is. Oh, that's right, a balance of power between the consumers and the workers. It's like when you see a worker, you should really see, well, when you see a customer, you know, of a product, you should see the owner. The customer should be your owner. The customer's satisfaction should be what you're after. That should be everybody's motivation, to satisfy the person paying them. That should be the way they're thinking as a worker. And as a consumer, they should be saying, "Gee, this person makes it possible for me to have all this stuff. I'm able to buy this piece of technology, or this piece of good food, or this something else, or this cigarette even, or whatever it is, because this person provides it to me. He provides me the labor that gives me the privilege of having the pleasure of the enjoyment of this thing that makes my life better." And what, that's some kind of a negative psychology? No, I think that's a fucking necessary human psychology. That's the way we fucking should be looking at each other. And it's only because of these rich, motherfucking, conniving, weaseling, cheating, motherfucking, selfish cunts that we're not living in that world. Because assholes like you will defend those cunts.
Whatever. It's just not realistic, is it? I mean, it's just not a sensible thing.
French Revolution, American Revolution. The rest of the revolutions all kind of sucked, didn't they? So, yeah, we haven't had one for a long time. But, yeah, that's what you need sometimes. So I could just go back to the Roosevelt thing. I could just go back to the Depression and the action required to fix it. Okay, before that, the creation of the income tax, the idea that there needs to be a mechanism to check against this creation of a monarch class. That's what was being created in America, was a monarch class, and people started recognizing, and they did something about it. I'm just saying that the best thing you can do about it is just not pretend there's some use to owners. There is no use for the capitalist. We don't need the capitalist. All we need is workers and workers and workers and workers. We don't need owners.
To say. So I asked myself, well, why is he saying it? And I've got that idea, that it's just an old personal vendetta.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, I got the idea that you're just a senile, whatever, closet-living, out of touch, yobbish, elitist pig. There, how's that?
And I've got my idea for Johnny, like most libertarians who think that they are just a little bit clever than the rest, and will be able to exploit like fuck, given half a chance.
So, yeah, I mean, what do you really think that's, I belong in that kind of class, though? I mean, do you really believe that if I were to Say if somebody had given me $1 million or $1 billion when I was 19 years old, you really think that what I would do is go out and buy a Lamborghini and a mansion and a yacht? That my motivation wouldn't be to do something good in the world? Is that your argument? I mean, you're basically saying that I don't have that I don't feel this to my core, that this is just something I do for my personal convenience, that I'm not really compelled by a notion of this is the real world, that this stuff all has consequence, that the very thing that drove me to become a vegetarian was the very realization that these human animals are also sentient beings, and they're being mistreated on this fucking planet by these assholes. I mean, fuck you. Fuck you.
Okay, I'll do here. Now, I've found this picture. It's current.
Oh, whatever. It's probably as good as your statistic about the 10% becoming the 1%. Yeah, when you didn't say to everybody, oh, I mean 1% in they get $380,000 in 1 year.
It's real. It's United States dollars, and it's now, well, last week. So I'll put this up on the screen now for a few seconds.
Very
now,
exciting.
One.
All right, let's see. So we got Walmart. Save money, live better. Now hiring. The following positions. Cashier, $17.40 an hour. Unloader, $17.40 an hour. I don't know if there was more to the sign or not. So he's suggesting that that's what's going on at Walmart now. The average cashier is making $17.40 an hour, and the average unloader is making $17.40 an hour. And that this isn't a Walmart in a certain location or something else. I don't even know where this sign is. I mean, this doesn't look like a Walmart. It looks like somebody's classical colonial windows in the background. But whatever. I mean, it's your contention that these are the minimum wages being paid at Walmart. That's the starting salary, $17.40 an hour in America. I don't think so.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Very exciting.
6.
Thank you.
7.
Really appreciate the countdown.
10.
Fantastic.
Hello, me again. That I just showed is absolutely fine for Johnny. It doesn't prove him right or anything like that, but he'd take that and run around the place with it. For Garrett?
Well, yeah, I know, but he can't really run anywhere, because if he would have it his way, we know that it wouldn't be $17.40 because there'd be no minimum wage to create a foundation for that wage. So we know that that really would be a much lower wage, but there'd be no minimum wage because Johnny doesn't believe in minimum wages.
It's a complete and utter slap in his face, because as I said last time, his proscriptive ideas for...
Well, again, I don't know what the point of it is, okay? I mean, you've conceded in other videos that wages are going down. Alright, so why are you making this argument that somehow everything's just fine and that labor's doing just fine in America and it's great, we're all in the gravy? When you know the truth is that people are in half in half the circumstance they were in 1970. The average working man is half as rich as he was in 1970. So what are you making this argument for? And obviously we know where the money went. It went to the richest 5% in the world.
Running the country, and they'll be run the same in New York, New Jersey, Boise, Idaho, and podunk nowhere. Is just an impossible, stupid...
Well, whatever. They'll be run the same. Yeah, they'll be run the same in the sense that CEO will be elected, he'll run the company, and people will hold him accountable for how he runs the company. Yeah, the consumers and the workers. The vote will be split between those two interests, and by some correct proportion. I don't know what the exact proportion might be, but it's somewhere around 50-50 or 60-40 or whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is that that's going to be the balance creator. to keep the union under control and to keep the greedy consumer under control.
Little dream that could only be leveraged from vengeance.
Yeah, okay. So whatever. Again, so it's vengeance for some personal indignity where there was no personal indignity. I always took pride in my work, and again, I was doing quite all right, and I just didn't see the system as being all right.
So, because I think it's going to rain, I'll just slip in here at the end why I talk about this horizontal thing. And as I said in the last video or the video before, I don't think it's going to be in the slightest bit nice before, but this is what Johnny pointed out to me. Is this horizontal thing more like libertarianism? And yes, it is. And what I'm saying to the people are, you've got to...
The horizontal thing is more like libertarianism. So he's saying if we don't do the vertical thing with the rich and poor, but we do some sideways thing, that somehow it's all going to work. I mean, it's... No, that's libertarianism. Libertarianism keeps things under control, keeps the rich under control somehow. Oh, please. Please.
Where along the line start, you might get away with it if you're my age. You might die before it really crunches your ass. But your children and your children's children are going to have to do an awful lot more of this libertarian stuff because capitalism is falling apart.
And see, that just doesn't make any sense, does it? So right there, can we just say, oh, senile kook? How you know, the more libertarianism because capitalism is falling apart. I'm sorry, that just doesn't make any sense. Libertarianism is capitalism on steroids. So it's the complete... More libertarianism would just mean more capitalism. I mean, you don't even understand that. Wow, you're really dumb.
So I thought I'd just throw in here at the end, because I can go into all sorts of complicated details about...
Oh, I'm sure. And they'll be probably as meaningless as your 10% of people are the 1% at one time in their life.
Money and banking and all sorts of stuff, but the reason basically it is falling apart is just a historical thing. 500 years it's been...
Oh please, it hasn't been going on for 500 years. It's been crashing all over the fucking place. I mean, obviously the American Revolution was within that 500-year frame. The French Revolution also, and the Great Depression was about as big a fucking restart as you could possibly get. I mean, you can't get more restart than the fucking Great Depression.
Going on based on good accounting and debt and all that sort of stuff. But the reason for taking out debt always was the same, that there were exploitationable possibilities with globalism.
Yes, and the keeping of resources tight. So the perpetual ownership, the acquisition of ownership, and its perpetuation, the fact that ownership slides something into a column for which it can never fall out of again, you know, except for, you know, obviously some rich families squander it, but very few. There's money still here from the slave trade. There's money from Rothschild's gold trades. That's still, those fortunes are still floating about. You know, the names have changed, but it's the same family. So, you know, yeah, and it's just that you just keep sliding everything into the column of an owner, so everything else just becomes rentables, because prices keep getting inflated, because scarcity is created by possession. And that's what happens when somebody possesses it. When the hippopotamus is in the boat, it's creating gravity that's going to sink your boat, and that's what it's going to do. I mean, it has a consequence, and wealth acquisition has a consequence. It's the acquisition of labor.
Crunching on at such a speed that it is, exploitation possibilities are just disappearing by the They're just
Yeah, well, whatever. That's right. People are way overextended. The country's way overextended. None of the debt can be paid back. So they either have to destroy the currency that the debt will be paid back in to make the debt payable, or they have to write a lot of this debt off. And nobody wants to accept the writing of the debt off. That's why we had to bail out the bankers, is because nobody wanted to go bankrupt. So yeah, solution is what? Oh, let's just start over and do it exactly the same again? No, my argument is if we're going to have to start over anyway, let's start over where a system where we pay people to work, not fall out of vaginas.
disappearing. And with no great things to exploit, the capitalist can't make that differential between the exploitation price that they can get something at and the retail price they can get it for somewhere else.
Yeah, right. And it's going to get worse and worse. And when they can't make money, when profits do finally crunch down, all right, they're not going to sit there and pay the employees out of the kindness of their heart. Okay, they're not going to keep providing service to customers who can't pay the right price. So they're going to shut it all down. And that's our opportunity to take it from them.
Everything flattening out, that's the reason interest rates are going to zero, everything, profits will take a little bit of a hike up before they fall off, and I expect them to fall off really quite soon. And that is an inexorable working, I think, of today's entire...
Yeah, so you're pointing out how it all seems like it's going to head for some sort of major correction or crash kind of thing, and then you're talking about how it's impossible to change anything. Well, isn't that exactly the time you might as well change everything? When it's completely smashed into a million pieces on the road, isn't that time to rebuild it the right way this time? Or are you going to glue all the stupid, idiotic, moronic pieces exactly back together again? No, well that's, again, this isn't, why am I making arguments? You don't want to hear the fucking rational argument because you're the one defending something you can't live without, which is the notion of beautiful yachts sailing into the sunset.
World. And it's clanking along with a ratchet going onto it every single time it turns round. Profits are going to go down, interest rates are going to go down, and basically it's starting to eat now into pensions. All the money that people think...
Well, that's not entirely true, but I mean, it was in 2008, right? Huge crisis, and so now the stock market's been elevated with the $4 trillion of equity shoved into it. And we'll see what happens now, right, when that has to rebalance, because then the pension funds are going to be back in big trouble again. And in the state of New Jersey, the governors decide not to even pay the pension. So, I mean, not to put in the money that's owed, because it creates a budget imbalance. So, I mean, yes, this war is going to begin. But, I mean, whose money should be more secure, the pensioners or the bondholders? Whose contract should be violated first?
They've got in pensions is just starting to be eaten away, as it's going to need to be turned into something more liquid. There's this great flight in the West to more solid assets. It's all purely based on the thing that money can't make money out of, and money can't make enough money anymore out of money, because money always used to do the thing which was exploiting differences.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, and also you just, again, I think it's the scenario, right? I mean, you can't do it in an uncertain environment. It's really tricky lending money in an uncertain environment where you don't know whether the government's going to have to print cash to pay the bills and devalue the money you're going to get paid back in. So, I mean, but obviously interest rates for years was a huge exploitation. People were paying 1.5 times, 2 times, 3, well, 2.5 times the value of whatever they were buying when they bought it on time. So yeah, it was huge profiteering.
Is in places in the world, and there aren't those differences anymore. There aren't enough of them. All
Well, there's plenty of places, there's plenty of people who want to borrow money, but yeah, they're not going to be able to get any money at a decent rate because, yeah, you'd have to be an idiot to give somebody anything called money now for money tomorrow. Because tomorrow money doesn't look too fucking good.
disappearing. And that is what is going to bring the vertical system down to something more like Johnny's libertarian.
Yeah, whatever. Johnny's libertarianism. With this, you talk about being a silly person, and this is a silly description of reality. We're all going to be on our corporate-provided internet, making transactions for people for what, and who's going to ship all this stuff, and how are we going to, who's going to pay the freight costs and the fuel costs, and how does this work anyway, this underground economy that's going to be created? Oh, that's right, it's not going to work at all.
Unfortunately for everyone involved, and Gary's thing just never comes into it because it's just stupid.
Yeah. So again, here you are in crisis. It would be stupid to say something like, well, let's create a secondary currency. This currency's in trouble. Only pay it to workers, okay, and give it added value, obviously. And let's, migrate to this system out of that system. Or something like that. So it would be the wrong time to do that when the crisis hits. When the rich people won't grow food anymore because they can't make any profit because nobody can buy the product anymore. Or the rich people can't make money on electricity because people can't pay the rates that they're charging to be able to pay the bills. Nobody should step in. Nobody should take care of business. The government. Nobody. Yeah, we should just let people not have electricity in New York City. Yeah, that'll work. Sure.
Just repeat, you can't go. It doesn't bear talking about, certainly.
Yeah, it doesn't bear talking about. I guess that's fine for people like you who live far enough away, I guess, right? Maybe you live far enough away from a big city to not recognize that you gotta have a better plan than that.
You can think about it if you like, Gary, and you can rant about it if you like, but you're too intelligent to really believe it.
Well, I thought that about your whole idea that suffering doesn't matter. How could you be a smart guy and not understand that suffering matters? And then I thought again when you said things like, like somehow conversation doesn't matter. Like if I say some kind of intelligent thing, that doesn't change somebody else's mind and change their behavior in the sense of change it from what it would have been if I didn't say it. Obviously, it's going to be determined that I would say it. But that's part of the determinism, and that the things need to be said for somebody else to hear them, for them to be influenced by it. And for an intelligent guy not to understand that's how it works, that you have to actually say something before somebody can actually act on it. It's like I have to say, go save that old lady from getting hit by the if I actually have to say the words for the guy who's over by the old lady to be able to go save the old lady. I have to say them. If I don't say them, she's going to get run over. And you're a smart guy. You can't figure that out? I'm surprised.
Have a quick analyse of yourself like you say you do, and you'll soon...
Oh, gee, imply I'm a liar again, like you say you do. Yeah, just like you say you're not a petty, grisly, whatever, cheatmonger. Or something. Yeah, you pretend to be a nice guy when you really suck. Yeah. You suck.
Find that the root of it is that you didn't like your owner at the diner.
Oh, bullshit. So, yeah, it's nothing to say to that. I never liked owners, this is true. But, again, the stories that got to me weren't my stories. They were the stories of the other people I saw. Waitress. I give you 100 good waitress stories that were just disgusting. Disgusting.
And you've just extrapolated it into this nonsense that you go on about now.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck you.
I'm not saying owners are great.
Yes, you are. You're saying they're so great we can't get rid of them. It's impossible. It's just totally preposterous to try. We just have to live with them, sucking up half the value of everything we make and just spitting it out their fat lips, right? They just eat the food, chew it, and puke it out. And we're supposed to all just say, well, that's just the cost of doing business. Gotta have them wasting half the food we make and wasting half the fuel we produce and wasting half the labor we do. Somehow we need that waste. No, we don't.
But it's just such a incredibly... It's just part of the system. It's a part of the building block.
Yeah, I just don't understand. How is inheritance part of the building blocks? How does that integral to the function of the game? No other game on Earth, you can't show me a single other game on Earth where inheritance is integral to the game. And yet you're saying this most important game, this life or death game, somehow inheritance is integral. Prove it.
It's just another thing. You take those out, and it just makes the system, it'll fall down quicker. But if it falls down, all you can...
Fall down quicker. Huh? I don't understand. No, sorry. No sale.
Guarantee is there's no way that anybody or anything will have the power to hold it together enough to...
Yeah, it's a system, okay? You don't need a... It doesn't have to be that complicated, okay? The umpires are accountable to the owners and the fans. You just make the system accountable. If everybody's accountable, if everything's open... Alright, and there's no shenanigans, then you can play a good game, and you just have to have certain rules, and you do have a little bit of drug testing, and yeah, every now and then you x-ray a bat. No big deal.
Tell people what wages to pay to other people.
No, that's not what's going on, right? So again, so just misparaphrase and lie about my position. Wages will be set by demand, and the consumers will have a voice about how much they're willing to pay for a product, and you know, who they're going to elect as the CEO, who's going to establish what the wage base is. But yeah, I almost think that the minimum should be constitutionally guaranteed. There should be a constitutionally guaranteed minimum wage. Nobody should work for nothing, for a peach a day.
It's a pipe dream. It's a...
Okay, whatever. Fuck you. I think everything you talk about is a pipe dream. There. Are we done? I mean, really, what's the fucking point of anybody talking with that kind of bullshit argument? It's a pipe dream. There, I can say that to every fucking person making any suggestions on planet Earth. I'll just say it's a pipe dream and walk away. I win. I mean, you're just... Fuck. Well, what? Can I call you something other than a troll? That's not a fucking argument.
Terribly childish pipe dream.
Okay, yeah, add some more vindictive bullshit to it. Smear some more crap on the crap, and then say, look, it's even a bigger piece of crap. It must be crap, because I crapped on it. Fuck you. You know, fuck you. You probably do take monstrous craps with all the fucking roughage you eat, but this really isn't a crap war, craphead. So try making an argument instead of just crapping.
I wish you'd pipe up. Pipe down, that's it. Shut up about it. Because it's exceptional.
Okay, yes, I wish you'd shut up too, because I think you're ignorant, stupid. You're ignorant. You're ignorant.
Embarrassing to have to listen.
Yes, it is. It is horribly embarrassing when you start going on about your universing. It's embarrassing. What the fuck?
And it's one of the main reasons I don't listen to any of your economic videos or try and avoid...
Okay, whatever. So there's something else to listen to. Fine, you found something else to listen to. I personally can't find much else to listen to. Frankly, I'd like to have a conversation with somebody who's more engaged than you are. But guess what? Every fucking buddy on the internet is an asshole. So yeah, you're just the least of the assholes available, so I'll pick on you. Because there isn't anybody else talking. I mean, you're sometimes, you little bit of logical things come out of your mouth, so there's some hope of a conversation about something that matters on this fucking idiotic planet. But yeah, you know, it is a default. I have to concede. Okay, you win by default. You win because the other horses are all lame-ass fat hippopotamuses.
With them like the plague. because I've got a lot of respect for what you say on other subjects. But here...
Well, probably likewise. I mean, I have, you know, I mean, I have to concede. The last few videos haven't fucking done much for my respect quotient for the mystic. So, yeah, this wasn't exactly, wow, he says it's going to be profound and interesting, and he's really not. And so I can, you know, once you start showing people how to plant vegetables, I'm really going to be a bit turned off. So, yeah, I'm not really seeing it or getting it. So, yeah, but I have to admit, there have been times when you've done my brain good, and I appreciate that, and I thank you for that. But it hasn't been lately.
On economics, it's juvenile.
Oh, another poo. Yeah, well, whatever. I'll just, yeah, well, I'm rubber, you're glue, fuckhead. You're the one juvenile, too stupid to figure out it's a game, buddy. And that game should have rules, and that if you make the rules really good, you can have a really good game. It's called like cricket, right? I mean, you're a fucking English tart eventually, you know, originally. You must have heard the phrase, that isn't cricket. Why did they say shit like that? Oh, they say shit like that because they understand that cricket has rules, and it's the rules that make it a good game. Right? I mean, you really should be able to understand that.
And I really wish you wouldn't do it.
I wish you would do a lot of stuff that you're not going to do for me.
But I'm sure that's not going to make
That's right, it won't.
Thanks, bye.
Yes, well, that doesn't sound very sincere. Yes, I do not say thank you to this video. I think it was rude and obnoxious and pitifully argued and beneath you. Yes, it was very far beneath you. The you that you really should be trying to be. So anyway, so Mariana, of course, she really loved the video, right? Because she's a capitalist whore owner type. And, you know, so yeah, that makes sense. The answer to your question is simple. Liberty. The freedom to live my life with minimal interference from central planners. So that's the idea. So it's always central planning. People saying fairness would be a good idea and that earn should have something to do with it. That people should earn ownership of labor. Earn ownership of the means of production. That they should earn it. They should go to work and earn it. They shouldn't inherit it. Oh my God, that's central planning. Do I want the government to go away? No. Well, you can't have it both ways, idiot. Minimal is pretty much saying go away, isn't it? No. Yeah, he wants a big army, maybe. Do I want to roll back the social progress we've made in the last 100 years? No. Well, what social progress do you want to keep exactly? You don't want to keep Social Security, I imagine. Do I want the big guy to profit on the backs and miseries of the masses? No. Well, you're fucking... How are you going to stop them from doing that in your liberty system, you stupid shit? Shall I call it something other than libertarianism? I am not hung up on labels. Let's call it organic, economic, and social interaction. Oh, fuck you. Let's see if he says anything. You've been shit videos posted, but seem to have turned a corner last YouTube collection. You're sounding rational again. Oh, that's so funny. So a guy who says absolutely, there's no argument in any of this. There's nothing. Doesn't say anything. You know, why not unleash the creativity of millions of people? How? Let's abolish copyright. Yeah. You know, why is that going to do it, you think? Or should we just modify it? Yeah, maybe modifying it would be wiser. Yeah. Oh, but that's not libertarian. He can't even figure out what he is, and he's going to tell us what we should be doing. I mean, that's pretty funny, right? I'll tell you how you should run the system, but I can't figure out even what to call myself. Libertarianism, the ideology for those people who don't know what they want, but they want it immediately and at the greatest cost to everyone around them. Don't tread on me and all that. Well, I don't even know what that means, but yeah, I mean, obviously it's, you know, I mean, unfortunately our whole revolution was a revolution for the, you know, fortunes of the Americans. I mean, it was just really a trade war. The Americans saw how much money was being made off of America, and they wanted to own it. You know, they wanted to be in the tea business and all the other businesses. And that's really what it was all about. They were just greedy fucks. It's not they wanted to liberate the people from the king. they wanted to be the king. Sadly. I mean, not entirely. I mean, you have to concede that, man. They could have done a lot worse, so they didn't really fuck us entirely. But anyway. Yeah, enough. Yeah. So, just another horribly depressing and disappointing chapter in my struggle to find rational conversation on the internets. Really isn't available.